Hey guys, as you well know, it is 2025 and it has been years since I've done a what's in my pencil case, and a lot has changed, but a lot has also stayed the same. So I thought I would walk you guys through it as I move into a new pencil case. So one of the things that has changed is I'm doing a lot fewer conventions, so I don't need to be as portable. I'm also doing a lot fewer commissions, so I don't need to have extra brush pins, extra leads, that sort of thing always with me. Something else that has changed is that I've been working a lot more digitally, doing a lot of my sketching digitally, and I received an iPad for Christmas, so kind of wanted to show it off a little bit because it really has made a difference in how much sketching I've been able to do. So I have a nice sturdy Paperlike case on it. I keep my glove in there. I have the Pencil Pro, and I've got the Paperlike grip as well as the Paperlike tip, and I also have the Paperlike finish, the like grit finish on my tablet. I mostly use Procreate. and I mostly just use it for general sketching. I still do a lot of sketching in my sketchbook just because, I don't know, I ideate better in traditional media, and then I'll take a photo of it, send it to myself, and open it in Procreate and kind of work on it from there. What I like about being able to do this is I can resize things, I can scale things, I can delete things very easily, I can move things around. It makes creating compositions a lot easier. I also can import it as a PSD file and then take it into Photoshop, convert it to blue lines, and print it out onto watercolor paper and continue my process from there. I've even started creating some of my class materials on the iPad because it's just easier and more comfortable than using the Surface Book that I've been using for years. So this is definitely a major part of my sketching and drawing process, and it's made it a lot easier. But even before I had an iPad, I was actually tooling around with an inexpensive little Android tablet. I talked about it here on the channel. I actually used it for 2 more years after I talked about it, and I used that thing a lot. That's what actually made me decide I wanted an iPad. Is I was hauling that little tablet everywhere. It was very quick to just pull it out and sketch if I had 5, maybe 10 minutes. Whereas having a laptop with you, like a Surface Book or a Surface Pro, it's a lot more time consuming to pull it out. So having like little tablets, whether it's a really inexpensive one and you're using Krita, which is what I was using with the Android tablet, or something more expensive like an iPad, these can work really well as a digital sketchbook. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and get an iPad. In fact, I was super resistant to it. A friend of mine who's not a Mac person got one a few years ago and loved it and was really trying to encourage me to give it a try for years, and I was really hesitant. So I'm not trying to sell you on this. I'm just saying this is something that I've added to my workflow and I actually really like it. Now, in terms of traditional media, I actually have 2 pencil cases. One of them is inking stuff, one of them is sketching stuff. They've gotten kind of merged back into one, and I can't find the pink Maneki Neko one, so we're gonna go with this one. This one has pretty much everything. I am moving into a, what is it, LIHIT Lab Smart Fit Bright Label double pen case, and my hope with this is that it is so bright that even amongst all the junk on my drafting table, I'll still be able to find this. Now, you can get these kind of pencil cases all over the place. I'll put some links down in the description below. This one has 2 pouches. So it has a front pouch, which could be great for a small ruler, some pencils, some erasers and lead, stretchy stuff you want all the time. And then it has the pencil case itself. And I had a blue LIHIT Lab pencil case that I used for years, and I love that thing. So this is kind of inspired by my appreciation of that pencil case. And then you have like the place up here for erasers, instructions or advice in Japanese. But I wanted something that would be very bright, would stand out on my desk, would be hard for me to miss, and could hold everything. Because as you guys can see, I like to carry a lot of stuff. I like to carry a lot of different types of erasers. I like to carry a lot of pencils. You know, again, this isn't like, oh, you should have everything that I have. It's just, this is what I like and what works for me. So one of the things you probably will notice is that most of my pencils, most of my pens have a second market grip on it. I happen to really like the Coom pencil grips. These are really nice and cushy. I really like the Stad pencil grips, like this one here. These are actually hard to find in the US. Dollar Tree makes some good little pencil grips. And you get like 6 for $1. So these are great. Bowie is nagging for food, even though he's been fed. I don't know what's up with him. And then you have triangular pencil grips like these. These are really great. I have arthritis and arthralgia caused from Sjogren's and also just years of gripping a pencil too hard. If you have hand health issues or if you have hand pain, I have an entire video where I explore a variety of comfort grips that makes using your pencils and pens and brushes a little bit more easy. So I really recommend that you put some comfortable grips on your pencils sooner rather than later. And if you're looking for recommendations, I hope you guys will check out that video. I also tend to have a variety of inking pens. So when I was doing my inked art challenge, Lilliputian Living, I would use this variety of pens. I really love the Sakura Pigma FB fine brush pens. These use a pigment ink, so they're going to be waterproof. As a watercolor artist, I love waterproof. The Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens are also waterproof. Both of these are also alcohol marker proof. So if you like to do alcohol markers with a line art, these are fun. The Fudenosuke is available in a really wide array of colors. You can find these at places like Walmart. You can find these, I mean, they're carried elsewhere, but like one of the common big box stores you can find them at is Walmart. You can find these at Michael's. When I buy these, I like to get them at my local brick and mortar, David's Art Center here in Metairie, Louisiana. I also have some of the Pentel pigment brush pens. I have an extra fine and I have a medium. These are kind of great if you like dry brush, if you like chunkier line work, if you have a steadier hand than I do. If you tend not to squeeze too hard and push out too much ink, these can be really great. I really like these. I've been using these for years, so of course I kind of recommend them. I also have a variety of pencils. I used to use the really cool slick looking metal drafting pencils. I used a Pentel Graph Gear for over a decade and I really did a lot of damage to my hand. Since then, I have moved towards plastic mechanical pencils. In fact, I used to review them here on the channel for you guys if you're looking for some good ones. And my thought is plastic actually has more give and more bend than the metal ones. So I'm more likely to break the pencil than I am my hand. And I'd rather break the pencil than my hand. Which of these is a delicate, fine instrument that you cannot replace? It's going to be the hand. So I really like the stuff that Pentel makes. So you guys will see I have a couple of E-sharps, although I find these a little chunky in the hand. I have been using this Pentel Icy for like 5 years now, and it looks like it, but it has held up decently well considering all of the abuse that I put it through. In general, I try not to use the erasers on the pencils. It makes it harder to, refill the lead. And we'll talk about erasers in like a second. I also really like these inexpensive Muji mechanical pencils. These are both filled with red lead. I use these for red lead underdrawing. In fact, if you watch my Start to Finish watercolor series, these are what I use for sketching. So for erasing, I tend to really prefer white vinyl erasers. I have them in a few different sizes. Blackwing has a white vinyl eraser, but what I really like about this is it actually has a metal case for it. So it, can hold up a little bit better if you're heavy-handed, if you're kind of rough with your tools. I also like the Pentel high polymer erasers. I also like, and I don't have them in here, the Tombow mono erasers. And I have these in like a few different sizes. I find it's really helpful to have a variety of eraser sizes so you can kind of get in there. This is good for erasing larger areas. This is good for getting in with smaller details. And speaking of getting in with smaller details, I have a Click Erase for Pro. That's all right. It leaves some smudging. I used to really like the Tombow mono erasers, but I find I break those erasers while I'm erasing rather than actually erasing, so I don't use those so much. I also have a Radar Knot eraser. Any of these white vinyl pen type erasers. I used to have a bunch of click erases. I don't know why. I go through phases where I'll use different things. Sometimes I'm erasing more, sometimes I'm erasing less. So I'll add things or take things out. I mean, that's the point of doing like an update with like new year, new pencil case kind of thing, is you change what you're using based on what you're using. So I actually carry around a lot of erasers. It's easy to say I make a lot of mistakes. But actually, in general, when I'm drawing, if I'm just coming up with ideas in my sketchbook, I will just go in with color pencil, not even erase, and just make notes and make adjustments like that. When it comes to leads, I don't use a lot of regular graphite unless I am penciling a watercolor illustration. So sometimes H lead, sometimes HB lead. I like Pentel stuff a lot, so I have a lot of Pentel stuff. I also like to use the Pentel red lead, and I am discovering to my horror that all of my leads and things were in the Maneki Neko case that I cannot currently find. So that's fun for me. I bet a bunch of my erasers are in there too. I also like to use Pentel red lead in my pencils. Sorry, Bowie's like running. Bowie desperately wants attention, so here, hang on. There, sorry, he's being super distracting. Hopefully that'll help me focus now. So I'm really heavy-handed. I tend to bear down on my pencils and crack leads. The grips have helped a lot. Changing how I hold the pencil helps a lot. I use 0.7 in graphite pencils, and I use 0.5 when it comes to red lead. And this has really just helped me lighten up my grip. It's kind of forced me to lighten things up and to kind of ease things up. So, you know, it really kind of depends on what you're looking for and what your needs are. This is just my pencil case. So I want to go ahead and kind of start getting moved in, getting things organized. So, you know, that's part of the fun of a what's in my pencil case. And hopefully I'll find my pink. I had to, because like I said, I was doing a lot of inking and also doing a lot of penciling, and they wouldn't fit in one. And it was just easier to have two that were kind of separated by what I use them for. There we go. Okay. So get the front pocket situated with things I use all the time. Actually, let's go with the squishier, cushier grip. And then over here, and this even has a pocket here that will help protect your pencils. So I don't know if my camera's picking this up. That jingling noise is Joseph trying to distract Bowie, trying to play with him because he's a good cat dad. And then you can also use this elastic band here to kind of, I know you guys know how to use pencil cases, okay? I'm just commenting on it. And then over here, we have the deeper, large pocket. And this could be good for like a mini ruler, things like that. I kind of wish there was, this is like ridiculous. Okay, so the other LIHIT I had like, it had a sleeve that you could put your pencils in, and then you flip it over, and then it had a big empty compartment. And I really liked that. I was kind of hoping this would have like a sleeve in here and then like the dump pocket, but that's okay. Honestly, one of these needs to go in that front pocket. There we go. I'm worried that out of sight, out of mind, if I don't see these erasers, maybe I'll forget that I have the erasers in there. ADHD, it's fun. It's not quite big enough for the Pure Slim. So I guess I will put the Pure Slim right there. All right, so this is not all the way full. I still need to find my leads and stuff. Those are gonna go in the front pocket, but now what would be kind of neat, not necessarily practical depending on who you are, but a couple of pin loops on the front so you can really quickly grab your pin. But yeah, that is my 2025 pen case, pencil case, drawing case as a comic artist and illustrator, as well as what I'm using for my digital sketching.